Hello my dear friends and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Joy and today in this lecture we will be discussing about electoral reforms in Maharashtra. Recently, the State Election Commissioner of Maharashtra has come up with certain rulings regarding the elections in Maharashtra. So it has become very important and it leads to certain electoral reforms. So it is important for us to know what are these electoral reforms in Maharashtra. So we will be discussing about it in this lecture. Let us first understand what is the current affair. The Maharashtra State Election Commission, that is the MSEC, recently ruled out that if NOTA, that is none of the above option. So there is a NOTA option available when you go for voting. So if the NOTA gets the maximum votes in an election, re-elections will be conducted. That means there will be 3 or 4 candidates, and along with the candidates' names, a voter will be given a choice of NOTA, that is none of the above. So if the voter does not want to vote for any of the candidates, the voter can choose to vote for NOTA or none of the above option. So if this none of the above option is getting the maximum votes in an election, that means if a majority of the votes is secured by this NOTA option, there will be a re-election conducted in the state. So this was the recent ruling of the Maharashtra State Election Commission. So this has become an important current affair. Now let us see the decision of the Maharashtra State Election Commissioner in detail. So the Maharashtra State Election Commission is the State Election Commission. So at the national level we have a election commission which consists of Chief Election Commissioner as well as other election commissioners. So at the state level we have State Election Commissioners. So MSEC or Maharashtra State Election Commission is the State Election Commission of Maharashtra. So the purpose of MSEC or aim is to supervise the elections to panchayats as well as municipalities in the state. So the elections to the state legislative assembly or the legislative council will be supervised by the National Election Commission. So the State Election Commission will supervise the elections to panchayats as well as municipalities in the state. For the local body polls in Maharashtra, the NOTA will be now treated as a fictional electoral candidate. The reason is that along with the candidate's name, the voters have a choice of voting for the NOTA option. And if the NOTA option is getting the majority of the votes, the elections will be conducted again. So re-elections will be held. So that means if NOTA secures the maximum vote, it will lead to re-elections. So that is why NOTA option will be considered as a fictional electoral candidate. So as a result, what will happen? None of the contesting candidates will be declared as elected and fresh elections will be conducted if the NOTA gets the maximum votes or majority of the votes. And this decision of the Election Commission of Maharashtra State will be applicable to all the polls and by-polls to all the municipal corporations, municipal councils and Nagar Panchayats. Now briefly about the NOTA. So NOTA stands for none of the above option. So the Supreme Court had ordered the Election Commission to introduce the NOTA option, and this was introduced 5 years ago. So it is after 5 years after the NOTA is being introduced in the electoral system of India that such a reform is going to take place in the state of Maharashtra. So under NOTA what happens? The voter is given an option none of the above button on all the electronic voting machines or the EVMs. So EVMs has an option of none of the above or NOTA. So if the voter feels that he doesn't want to vote for any of the candidate, if he feels that no candidate is eligible to be elected, the voter can choose the NOTA option. Now what will be the impact of the decision taken by the Maharashtra State Election Commission? So earlier, before this ruling out of the Election Commission, irrespective of whether the NOTA votes gets the majority or not, the contesting candidate with the highest number of votes will be declared as the winner. So now if NOTA has polled more votes than a candidate, or if NOTA has the highest votes, the election will be declared null and void, or it will be, or re-elections will be conducted. Now let us understand why is this decision significant in Indian democracy. So this is perhaps the first time that an option was being introduced anywhere else in the country. So probably this is the first time. This is of course a step that will strengthen the democratic values of the country. And 5 years ago, when the Supreme Court directed the Election Commission to introduce the NOTA option, the objective of the Supreme Court was that introduction of NOTA option will improve the electoral process, because there are chances that the voters doesn't want to vote for any of the candidates. So voter has now a new option option. He can vote for NOTA. So this will provide his negative feedback that he doesn't want to vote for any of the candidates. So this will improve the electoral process, means there will be increased voter participation. Secondly, this will have a compulsion or pressure on the political parties to field good candidates because there is a NOTA option. So the political parties will be pressurized to bring in good candidates. And thirdly, NOTA option is a reflection of negative votes in the election result. So this is where it strengthens the democratic values of the country. Now, the Maharashtra State Election Commission's decision to conduct the elections again if NOTA gets the majority. So, this decision will honor and respect the majority will and opinion of the people. So, if the majority people doesn't want any of the candidate to get elected, if they have a negative vote, they can represent it through NOTA, and that is also counted more valuable because if NOTA gets the majority, re-elections will be conducted. So, it is a way by majority will is respected and honored. This will also improve the spirit of decentralization of power. So, the 73rd and the 74th amendments were brought in order to bring in more decentralization. The third tier of the government, the panchayats and the municipalities, were established through the 73rd and 74th Amendment Acts. So, this panchayats and municipalities will be given more power, or the true spirit of democracy will be transferred to the panchayats and the municipalities by this decision of the Election Commission of Maharashtra. Now, let us also understand what are the other initiatives of the Maharashtra State Election Commission. In the last few years, the Maharashtra State Election Commission has brought in some other key electoral reforms as well. So, we will understand that. So, in the first one, the Election Commission made it completely or fully digital in the filing of nomination papers and affidavits of all the candidates. So, the Election Commission made the entire process digital. So, this will ensure more transparency and more accountability, and this has eliminated most of the errors, and this also enabled instant dissemination of information to the voters. So the voters, when they are provided with more information about the candidates, they can make better choices or better decisions regarding the voting, and each vote in a democracy is valuable. So when voters are provided more information or more awareness about the voting process or information about the candidates, they can make better choices, and that will strengthen the democracy of the country. So, completely making the election process digital by electronic filing of nomination papers and affidavits by all the candidates has definitely strengthened the electoral process in the state of Maharashtra. Now, secondly, it is the first election commission, the state election commission in a country, and secondly, it is the first state election commission in the country to cancel the registration of more than 250 political parties for the failure to submit audited accounts in time. So, this election commission, Maharashtra State Election Commission, was very strict in regard to submission of audited accounts in time. Any political party that has violated the rule, the registration of the party was cancelled by the election commission. Thirdly, the Maharashtra State Election Commission was the first state election commission to disqualify an elected representative for failure to file or comply with the expense disclosure rules. So, a candidate has to file the expense disclosure rules. That means a candidate has to file the expense accounts. So, whatever expenditure in regard to elections is made by the candidate, he has to file the account of all the expenditures with the election commission. And if a candidate fails to file or comply with such rules, the candidature can be cancelled, and if he is elected, an election commission can disqualify the elected representative. Here, the State Election Commission of Maharashtra has taken a bold move in order to disqualify an elected representative for the failure to comply with the expense disclosure rules. So, from this, it is understood that the State Election Commission of Maharashtra has taken several bold steps towards strengthening the democratic values of the country to uphold with the rules and regulations of elections. So, from the example of Maharashtra State Election Commission, it is understood that the powers and the functions of election commissioners, the state election commissioners, if utilized properly, it can strengthen the democracy of the country. So, other state election commissioners also should learn from the example of Maharashtra State Election Commission. This will strengthen the democratic principles of the country. You can find the PDF of this lecture on my Facebook page, and for any queries related to your UPSC preparations, you can get in touch with me on my Facebook page. Thank you and I wish you all a very good day.